Welcome to NFL Nexus. You know, every so often, a story comes along in the NFL that just seems impossible. And folks, that's exactly what we're unpacking today. A quarterback who was once dismissed, completely written off as a bust, and basically turned into a national punchline has just lifted the Lombardi Trophy. Today, we are digging deep into the incredible redemption arc of Super Bowl champion Sam Darnold. Seriously, it's a journey of failure, resilience, and in the end, ultimate validation that is the entire league buzzing. So how on earth did we get here? How did the punchline become the champion? Well, that's the story we're exploring today.
And it all starts with these two words: seeing ghosts. This wasn't just some off-the-cuff comment during a tough Monday Night Football game. Oh no, this became the meme. It was a viral moment that was just mercilessly clipped, shared, and replayed over and over again, haunting Sam Darnold for years. This one single soundbite captured on a hot mic for the entire world to hear. It perfectly encapsulated a career that at the time seemed absolutely destined for disappointment. It was the lowest of the lows, right? A moment of raw vulnerability becoming this huge public spectacle. But as we're about to see, it was also the unlikely starting point for one of the most remarkable turnarounds in the history of the league.
And that quote, it really did capture the ghost of his quarterback past. I mean, this was a period defined by that immense, almost suffocating pressure that comes with being a number 3 overall pick, especially in a media market like New York. He was supposed to be the savior for the New York Jets, the franchise quarterback they'd been searching for literally decades. But instead of leading them to glory, he found himself at a professional crossroads way sooner than anyone, especially him, ever expected. The dream had officially become a nightmare. Okay, let's look at the hard numbers, because they really tell the story of why that whole narrative formed so quickly. His first 6 seasons, split between the Jets and later the Carolina Panthers, were just a brutal grind. That win-loss record you see, 21-35, yeah, that's just not going to get it done for a guy you drafted to be your franchise quarterback. You just can't build a winning culture on that kind of foundation. And the biggest reason for those losses, he developed this crippling reputation for being turnover-prone, a nearly 1-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. For every little flash of that incredible talent we saw at USC, there was a back-breaking mistake, an ill-advised throw, waiting right around the corner. And of course, it all culminated in that seeing ghosts slow light, which just cemented his public image as a quarterback who couldn't handle the big moments. So the crucial point is this: by the time he landed in San Francisco as a backup, the league had a very clear, and let's be honest, a very negative opinion of him. The label was bust. And you know, that's one of the harshest terms in sports. And as you can see, it's reserved for those top prospects, the can't-miss kids who just don't pan out. For all intents and purposes, that's what Sam Darnold was. The consensus around the NFL, from coaches to GMs to the fans, was that his time as a viable starting quarterback was over. Period. End of story. But then something fundamental shifted. And it wasn't just about a change of scenery or new mechanics or a different playbook, though I'm sure all those things helped. No, this was a change in his mind, a completely new philosophy for how he approached the game of football. And this internal change, inspired by one of the absolute greatest to ever play the game, would become the very foundation for his incredible comeback. Darnold himself points to this specific quote from the legend Jerry Rice. Now just stop and think about that for a second. Jerry Rice, the GOAT, a guy whose work ethic and performance were basically synonymous with perfection, admitted he never had a perfect game. For a guy like Darnold, who seemed absolutely crushed by the weight of trying to be perfect on every single snap, this must have been a profound revelation. He realized the goal wasn't to be flawless. That's an impossible standard, and it was probably causing him to hesitate and make more mistakes. The real goal was to be resilient. It was all about how you respond to the mistake that you know is going to come. And this slide right here, it illustrates that internal shift perfectly. On the left, you've got the old mindset, right? It's rooted in perfectionism, the pressure to make the perfect read, the perfect throw. It led to him holding the ball too long, forcing throws, and ultimately a ton of mistakes and frustration. But on the right, you see the new mindset, and it's all about resilience. It's an acceptance that mistakes, bad reads, errant throws, they're going to happen. The focus is no longer on the error he just made, but on making the next play the best it can possibly be. It's about having a short memory and a forward focus, which, as you know, is the true hallmark of every great quarterback. So this new philosophy, this embrace of resilience over perfection, was about to be put to the ultimate test on the NFL's biggest stage, with the entire world watching. This is where it all comes together. This is his crowning achievement: becoming a Super Bowl champion. Now, if you just look at the stat line from Super Bowl LX, you might be, well, a little underwhelmed.
202 yards, 1 touchdown, a 50% completion rate. These are not staggering jump-off-the-page numbers. This wasn't some legendary shootout performance like we've seen from a Brady or a Mahomes where they put the whole team on their back. But, and this is the key, it was exactly what the Seattle Seahawks needed from him to win that game. The game plan was crystal clear. Lean on a powerful run game and a dominant defense. They didn't need him to be a soloist. They needed him to be the calm, steady conductor of the orchestra. And you know what? He played that part to perfection.
You see, the most important stat from his entire performance was 0. 0 interceptions. 0 fumbles lost. Just think about that for a second. In the highest pressure moment of his entire life, the player who was once defined by those back-breaking turnovers protected the football. He completely nullified his biggest weakness when it mattered most. I mean, contrast that with the Ghost game, where 4 interceptions just doomed his team. This performance is the ultimate testament to his new, resilient mindset. He didn't win the game with spectacular plays. He won it by refusing to lose it with bad ones.
But winning the championship didn't end the conversation about Sam Darnold. Oh no. In fact, it just kickstarted a brand new and really intense debate across the league. A debate that gets right to the heart of his story. What does this Super Bowl victory actually mean for his career?
ESPN's Evan Cohen, who's been a pretty vocal critic of Darnold for a long time, he framed this whole debate perfectly with this quote. He draws this clear line in the sand between 2 different kinds of championships, and it forces all of us to ask, what kind of Super Bowl win was this, really? Was this an endpoint, or was it a starting line? So what's the difference? Okay, let's break it down. On one side, you've got the validation Super Bowl. This is the one-off, the incredible feel-good story that proves all the doubters wrong and essentially closes the book on past failures. Think Nick Foles with the Eagles, or maybe Joe Flacco with the Ravens. It's about that singular, incredible achievement. But then you have the Legacy Super Bowl. This is the win that opens a brand new chapter. It's the first championship for a player like Patrick Mahomes or a young Tom Brady, where the immediate question becomes, how many more can he win? This is the one that sparks talk of dynasties and all-time greatness. So, according to Cohen, Darnold's win falls squarely in that first category, validation. The story as he sees it is now complete. Darnold proved everyone, including Cohen himself, wrong. He showed he could win the big one by not losing it for his team. And in Cohen's view, that's it. That's the end of the narrative. He has nothing left to prove because he's already answered the one single question that defined his entire career up to this point.
However, there is a very powerful counterargument to be made here. An argument that this victory isn't an ending at all, but actually a launchpad. That this isn't about closing the book, but rather starting a completely unexpected and frankly compelling new chapter in his career. A chapter that might be even more interesting than the last one.
Forget that old 21-35 record from his early years. Just look at this number. Over the past 2 seasons as a starter for the Seahawks, including the playoffs, Sam Darnold is 31-7. Let me repeat that. 31 wins and just 7 losses. This is not a fluke. This isn't a one-game wonder who got carried by his defense. This is a sustained period of elite winning football. He has quietly become one of the most successful quarterbacks in the entire league. And this Super Bowl win, it feels like an exclamation point, not the end of the sentence. And what's truly shocking when you consider that 31-7 record is how much of a bargain this guy is. He's signed a 3-year deal with an average annual salary of just $33.5 million. I mean, in today's quarterback market, where the top guys are making 50, 60, even 70 million a year, that number is almost unbelievable for a Super Bowl winning quarterback who is performing at this level. It's got to be one of the best value contracts in the entire NFL.
Get this. That contract makes the reigning Super Bowl champion the 18th highest paid quarterback in the league. Just let that sink in for a moment. There are 17 other quarterbacks, guys like Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins making way more, many of whom have never even sniffed a Super Bowl, who are paid more than the guy who just won it all. And what that does is it gives the Seahawks incredible financial flexibility to continue building a contender around him for years to come. It means they can afford to keep that star receiver or go sign that all-pro pass rusher. So the crucial point is this. The Super Bowl win, combined with his recent record and his team-friendly contract, it doesn't close any doors. It blows them wide open. In fact, it opens a door to the most exclusive club in all of football. And yeah, look, it's early, but for the first time ever, the very early whispers of a potential Hall of Fame discussion have begun. If he keeps winning at this pace, and if he maybe adds another title in the next few years, that conversation is going to get very loud very quickly.
Which leaves us with the ultimate question about the future of a quarterback absolutely no one saw coming. Is this a validation Super Bowl, a celebrated footnote in NFL history? Or, thanks to a sustained success and that team-friendly deal, is this the beginning of a true legacy, the start of an improbable Hall of Fame trajectory? All right, so now we want to know what you think. Is Sam Darnold's story over, or is he just getting started on an even bigger one? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure you subscribe to NFL Nexus and like this explainer. It really truly helps the channel out. And one last thing, you can help support our work here by purchasing an NFL Nexus coloring book. They're perfect for fans of all ages, for your kids, your grandkids, and yeah, for adults too. You can find them by using the link in the description or just by scanning the QR code on your screen right now. Thanks so much for joining us.